Okay.
Flower child.
Totally. Welcome, everybody, to the very next episode of The Remedy with Tova Sido and
Janice Gaunt. It's smooth mellow. And I've never been described as being smooth and mellow.
So Tom just surprised us with some new intro music. What do you think about it?
I like the song. I kind of like the other one a little better.
All right.
What do you think, Tova?
I don't know. I need to hear it again. And I think we might need some pot to go with it. Is that you, Tom? Is that your band?
No. That's a guy named Aaron Frazier. And
why do I know that name?
well, here, let me play it one more time and let you hear it when it sings. This is it with the vocals. It's sort of a soul throwback.
Totally.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I like the triangle. Oh, I like that.
Small reminder.
I like that.
So who is that, Tom?
His name is Aaron Frazier, and this song is called My God Has a Telephone.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I like this music. That's good.
Answer to my ear, because my God has a telephone.
Oh, I really like it. Now I really like it. Kind of makes me want to snap.
Yeah. There's no way this song could play it and you not move.
I can't.
You know? Anybody. I bet everybody's moving.
It came on the shuffle the other day, and I was like, I think these ladies would love this little track.
I do love the track.
I do too. I love the singing and the My God Has a Telephone.
Oh, that's cute.
Love it. That's so cute.
What station were you listening to when that came up?
I really don't listen to the radio. It's all just stuff that I find on Apple Music.
Okay, but do you put in like a...
Yes, I believe that was part of like so the DAP Kings, are you familiar with that band?
No.
They're the band that was backing Amy Winehouse most of the time.
Oh, I love Amy
and
Winehouse.
so that was the band, I think, it was playing artists similar to the DAP Kings.
Okay. Like that radio. Well,
Yes.
I use Spotify. So I put in like... So if you put in like John Mayer or something, you can put John Mayer radio.
Right. It goes good with like Leon Bridges.
I love Leon
the
Bridges.
Black Pumas, a lot of these like soul revival artists that are coming out, but that's one of them. Aaron Frazier.
Good to know.
Yeah, really good to know.
And I do think my God has a telephone.
Yeah, mine too. Ring, ring.
Ring, ring. Hello.
How do you dial it?
All right. Well, we need to thank our sponsor today, Tess Hutchinson from Kansas City.
Oh, thank
is
you,
our
Tess.
great sponsor today. So beautiful, Tess. Thank you for... Oh, she's such a good listener, fan. She's done this multiple times. So
that's so
thank
kind of you and generous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, today we got to get rocking because we have 11 more tips in how to find contentment. So last week we did quite a long introduction to the whole concept of contentment. And out of the 15 tips, we only got through 3. So we're going to continue that conversation today with number 4 tip on how to find contentment in this life. And number 4 says that in order to find contentment, we must serve others.
No.
I love it.
I don't want to serve. I want to be served.
You want people to serve you? I mean, both feel actually pretty darn good.
As my sweet husband has said to me before, you are probably the most selfish person I've ever known. And I'm like, I know, I am. I finally got there.
Oh, I think that's a compliment.
I don't know, but I do like to serve people. I love it when I can do things to help my kids or my grandkids, or I don't really spend a lot of volunteer time doing things because I just am so busy. But I do write checks.
Hey, places need checks.
And they do.
Yeah.
They do. But I
you know what?
that
I think serving your family counts.
Yeah.
And if I think about you, the way that you serve your children and grandchildren is so I mean, I know as a mom whose grandparents have helped with my children, when my children were little and we got a break of a sleepover at grandma's and grandpa's, or they took them out to dinner, or they just spent Saturday with them and gave me a break.
Yeah.
God, that was amazing. I've made such an impact in my life.
It really is a self-serving thing too, because there's like last week, Blair and I went to Owen's track meet, and we sat on a beacher, a hard beacher, for 3 hours and watched him run in the track meet. And I could have sat there for 8 hours. It just is the most rewarding thing for me to be able to be there for them. And I'm so grateful that I get to do that.
Yeah.
But it's not an altruistic thing necessarily.
Right. It's not how you're looking at it, even though I promise you it means the world to your girls.
Well, I think it does too. I think it's helpful to them.
Oh, yeah. Like that time Blair had she's a single mom. She had a yoga class. She was subbing at 6, and you were there to go take, there's not a lot of people you can call. Can you come take my child to school at 7:00 in the morning?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's so nice.
Well, it's fun for me, So, but I think that my father had such a servant's heart. I mean, he loved helping others, and with his time and financially and stuff like that. And really, my husband Tom has that same kind of heart.
Wow.
He has a real service heart. He's on the board of a couple of West Dallas organizations, and I mean, he loves it. He really does. And
that's so nice.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice.
I think that people use that word. He has a servant's heart. Or she has a servant. I do think it's something that some people have more than others. I do too. And I mean, I don't mind doing things for organizations or people, but I have to really want to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not just going to do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I used to be, I think, a little bit more sure and and
me too.
I'm way less now.
Well,
in my life.
And I think that even when my kids were little, I was real participatory in organizations and
the school
carnival and all of that. And then when I went back to graduate school and became a therapist, that time was taken up with work. And I think that that's part of it too. I feel like because I see, I do, counseling during the day, as you do too. And that is, if I see 5 people a day or 4 people a day, I'm pretty exhausted by the end of that. I don't have a whole lot of time or energy or really interest in doing it. So, I guess it's really kind of self-serving too, because I get paid for it. But I think it is different, because I think back in the day when my kids were little, I had more time to do some of that.
And when you're younger, you just have more energy.
Yeah, you do.
I mean, it's just true.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think being a single mom changed a lot of that for me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a wingman.
Yeah.
You know, when you have two parents tag teaming, but when I have George, I have George. And I mean, of course I can ask Topher for help, but I really don't.
Yeah.
You know, I do it.
Yeah.
And
I remember that too. That was
Limiting.
really different.
yeah.
Yeah. To have 3 girls at home and go to all of their
And one mom.
activities and one mom. Yeah. It was different. So
And you were single for 10 years.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I've been single for 8. I mean, that's a long time.
It is, isn't it?
To be alone.
Gosh.
Can you believe that, Janice?
No,
You
I really
met me
can't. I
like
know.
10 years ago.
I know. I'll never forget the day you walked in my office.
Oh, that was
I thought-
a pitiful mess.
No, I just thought, oh, you were so pretty.
Oh, that is so
Really?
nice. Janice, that's
well,
so
you
nice.
are. You're
so are
just
you.
gorgeous.
That's so nice. Okay, 5, accept yourself. I think that is huge when it
Yeah.
comes to contentment.
I do too.
Why? Why do you think it's such a big part of it?
I think so many of us have been taught to be something else. You need to be pretty enough, smart enough, skinny enough, volunteer enough, all of those things. And sometimes we want to say no, or sometimes we don't want to be what everybody else wants us to be. And one of the things that I have learned with all of my personal work and my going to a therapist, and really a lot of what I learned in accepting yourself was through Al-Anon when I was going to that 12-step program. And it was all about, first of all, figuring out who I am, because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know I was who I'd spent my whole life being who other people told me to be and how to act. And then once I really started figuring out who I was and what my values were and what I wanted and how I wanted to spend my time, and that I didn't have to be so, in quotes, nice all the time, that I could say, no, I'm not, thank you for asking, but I'm not willing to do that right now. To be able to be legitimate to where I wasn't people-pleasing. I had to kind of learn how to not be such a people-pleaser.
So I have a question, Janice. I love thinking about, because I have told you, but the other day I was talking to my brother and I was telling him how much I admire that quality in you, that like you are who you are. And I love it. It's so inspiring, and it's really made an impact on the way I look at myself, and the way I even have more growth to do in that area. But one question that I have is like, how far apart is Janice the way that you were when you were people pleasing and Janice today? What was, if you had to describe like what the difference is, or what it looked like before and what it looks like now? I mean, can you tell me about that? Because it's so, I can't see it because I never experienced you as a people pleaser.
Right. And I did everything as how I thought I should do it. I should be president of the PTA. I should be room mother all the time. I should do this. I should do that. And I didn't really know who I was. And I thought that I was responsible for my family to stay together, and I had to do all of the things. And I never realized that I have a choice, that I can say no. I can say, no, thank you, I'm not interested in doing that, and really asking myself, what do I want my life to look like? And that probably will sound selfish to people, and it is more on the selfish. If you put it on a continuum, selfless and selfish, it's probably more like 60-70% more towards the selfish. God bless you. Towards the selfish end of that continuum, but it's more into self-care. So what I have learned is that me being selfish is me taking care of myself. It doesn't mean that I never say yes to something, but it's very easy for me to say no. One of the things that sometimes is difficult for me is thinking that, I mean, I ran for cheerleader for 42 years. I wanted people to vote for me, and so I was just like me and just smile and say, hey, and I've really kind of given that up. There are, sometimes I've had experiences with people that I'm not really fond of in particular, or I've had conflict there, and I've really just learned that I don't have to be around that person anymore. I can say, no, that's just not going to work for me. And that is where that freedom comes for me, is to say, is this what I want to do? I don't want to pay my taxes, but I do.
Right.
Because I really do want to pay my taxes, or I'll go to jail.
Right. Right.
Or I don't always want to exercise, but I do get up and exercise because it's good for my body. So it's not like I just say, just do everything that I want to do. But I can say that the majority of what I do is by choice. I just don't do it anymore. And maybe that's because I'm getting older, and I think, time is so limited feeling to me. I mean, hopefully I've got 20 or 30 more years, but I'm not sure. My goal is to be a centurion, so we'll see if that happens. But, but I just don't need to be a people pleaser anymore.
Yeah. I think it's one of the most freeing things that can happen. And the reason I asked you about it is I mean, it was certainly something that I struggled with for years, but I think a lot of people struggle with it, especially women.
I do
because
too.
There's just so much pressure to be the perfect everything.
There is. And I think that if you are from a religious background, I think that that's even accentuated,
Very much
because
so,
you should die unto self. I remember sitting in that Hellfire and Damnation church and thinking and hearing the preacher pound on the pulpit and yell about dying unto self. And I don't think that's what the preacher meant, but that's what I heard, was that if I focus on what works for me most of the time, then I am going to that will be the source of my happiness. But back then I thought, well, that would just be
Selfish.
Terrible. I mean, not even Christian, or not even spiritual, or not godly, or whatever word you want to use with that.
Well, if you think about it, like if somebody was to describe you, God, Janice is so selfish. Like that sounds like it's negative. And yet, like you said, and I think it's brilliant, and I think it's a great reminder for all of us, like, yes, being selfish or taking care of yourself can look or seem, or some people may take it as you're selfish. But what other people think about us, like we've said 1,000 times, is none of our business. And if you saying no when somebody wants you to say yes gives them the perception that you're selfish, when in reality, on the continuum, you're just actually taking good care of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, who cares what they think?
Well, that's what you have to be able to do, is have that tolerance of being okay if other people are not okay with the choices that you've made.
Yep.
And some people won't be okay with that. But that you build up a tolerance for that, and then you really see yourself as, if I don't take care of myself, nobody else is going to do it.
Nope. And
they don't want to do it.
No.
And they shouldn't
It's not their
have
job
to do it.
It's your job to take care of yourself.
It is my job to take care of ourselves. And my sweet mother, I don't think she might have gotten that when she was about 85 or something. But she lived her whole entire life as a
Servant.
Mm-hmm.
That generation did.
They really did.
I mean, to have any sort of self-care
Yeah.
was very selfish.
It was.
For that generation.
It was. So we've come a long way.
Thank goodness.
Baby.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that one. The next one, do you have this article pulled up?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, do you want
I
to
do.
you want to introduce the next one?
Yeah, it's be positive. And it says, if you're struggling to understand how to feel content with yourself, try being positive. Always identifying yourself in a positive light chases the negativity away. When you choose positivity and focus on the good things, the real you gets an opportunity to shine. Positive vibes attract other positive events. If you want to be surrounded by happiness, it's high time you left the negativity behind. Always see the good in people and situations, which is, I don't know that we can always do that.
Nor maybe always should.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Do you?
No.
Okay. We're going to market that. Never mind that
Scratch
one.
that.
But I do think it's interesting for people to learn to take a real positive approach to themselves. I think I've talked about it here on that me walk that I used to do.
Love that.
When I would walk and start with the letter A and come up with something that was positive about myself for every letter of the alphabet, because I didn't know how to see myself as being, I didn't have a positive outlook on myself. And therefore, that's why I was depressed and why I didn't have any self-esteem, because I hadn't learned what's good about me, and so I think I think in order to see the good in others, I think we do have to kind of do that, let it begin with me, because then it doesn't feel like, if I'm focusing on, something positive about you, but I can't see anything positive about me, it's going to be difficult for me to recognize those in others even.
Yeah.
So
I do think it's all related, and how we see ourselves. I mean, I do know people who are really hard on themselves, but are so loving and kind about others. But I think it does start with us. Mm-hmm. And, it's so easy to be so critical of ourselves. I mean, you hear it all day long. I hear it all day long. People, the way they view themselves physically, the way they view mistakes they've made, or how they've stubbed their toe, or they felt like they were a bad parent for a hot minute, and it's like letting those things go. And when you look at so many people, when they look at themselves in the mirror, instead of seeing what's so right, oftentimes all they see is what they view is wrong. But I don't ever look at you and find anything wrong.
No, I know. but isn't that true? I mean, but that's so good, and we can do it easier almost with others than we do ourselves. So. But the one of the things that when people get really depressed, they go into a real negative swirl, kind of a spin hole down, and then of everything that is negative about them.
And everything negative that could possibly happen. Yeah.
and then it becomes it becomes much easier for somebody to contemplate ending their life if they can't see themselves as being filled with positive attributes and as a blessing to other people, and so I think that is really important. If people are depressed, make a positive list about yourself. Start with the letter A and just come up with something and tell yourself, look in the mirror and say, you're beautiful, you're kind, you're loving, and really try to build that up so that people who contemplate ending their life will they don't have a positive outlook in
No.
themselves. And
Well-
that is the very first thing they have to work on.
It's, people often say, as you know, that if somebody commits suicide, the other people talking about that person, they often describe them as very selfish. But what they don't understand is that the reason people commit suicide is they actually think they're doing everybody else a favor. They think that the world would be better without them.
Well, if you can't look at yourself and feel positive, then you wouldn't believe that anybody else would look at you and feel positive.
Right.
So it
sad.
really is important. And one more thing that I want to stress with this is you cannot overly flatter your children.
Yeah.
You cannot tell them they're pretty enough, smart enough. You can't tell them that too much, because what you're not going to do is say you're prettier than everybody else and they're not pretty or whatever. But building your children up is the greatest gift you can ever give to your children. And I think that we have been taught, I was told, don't be full of yourself. And growing up. And I just want to encourage people to really, really, really positively, talk to your children about, like if they're kind to somebody in the grocery store,
Yep.
To say, wow, you're just so kind to people. And
that's such a
I
good
admire
reminder.
that.
That's such a good reminder.
Yeah, it's important.
Another thing that I think is so sweet as parents is, like, I know how much it means to my children if somebody compliments something about my child, especially with my child there.
Yeah.
And I will say, oh my gosh, yeah, like they'll say to Anna Pren, you are just a ray of sunshine. I will immediately say, isn't she?
I know.
She is just such sunshine.
That is
all the
so
time.
great.
Yeah,
It's
just
to
back
reinforce
it up.
that.
Yes.
Yes.
When people, I have to tell you, that is something that I so love and appreciate about Craig. When I was married to Topher, if people complimented me, he kind of got annoyed.
Oh.
Yeah, like he wasn't.
He wasn't excited.
No, it was like he was threatened or something.
Felt less than.
Yeah, he did feel less than. And I never really noticed that until now that I'm with Craig. Somebody will say, God, you are so lucky, or she's so beautiful, or Tova is fabulous. He will be like, isn't she amazing? I mean, or she did such a good job at that ceremony. Isn't she? There's nobody does wedding ceremonies like her. I mean, he will just it makes me feel
It's so well. It's called love.
Yeah, it's so
That's so sweet.
That's a great quality.
I'm so glad you have that.
Me
you
too.
deserve that.
Everybody does.
I know.
Number 7 is kind of along those same lines. Be your best friend. Making yourself the first center of crisis resolution enables you to look within. You'll be able to identify with yourself in a relationship that lasts forever. Be kind to yourself as you would a friend. I often tell people, if you were your roommate, you would kick yourself out. Like, if your brain was your roommate, you would kick that roommate out the way you talk to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so many people would. Like, if they were living with the things
in their head,
that they're saying to themselves, they'd kick that roommate out.
I know.
Why are you living with yourself?
Yeah. And really and truly, that is a great way to approach it. Just like you would, I am my very best friend, so therefore I am not going to say things to myself that I wouldn't say to
A best
you
friend.
if you were in the room with me.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that. Because when you're your best friend, it eliminates a lot of the competition in life.
Isn't that great?
Because we're just not comparing ourselves. We don't have to win.
And that is something that I know you work with people all the time. It is tough.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, that younger generation with social media,
Oh,
that it is like their brains are completely programmed to compete.
and compare.
I mean, not compete, compare.
Yeah.
Completely programmed for that.
Yeah.
Such a bummer. Okay, you take 8. I know you do this. So.
Okay, meditate. Take time out from everything and meditate. It clears away the stresses of everyday life and enables you to focus on positive energy. In fact, according to our own research, stress reduction and anxiety relief are the top reasons why people meditate. And these are the top reasons: reduce stress and anxiety, improve concentration and memory, improve performance at work and or school, increase energy, general health and wellness, improve attitude and outlook on life, spiritual reasons, and others. I do a morning meditation. I don't do a structured like breathing meditation as much as I want to, but I do sit down and look at my my books, my readings, and then I will at least do like 5 minutes of just a breathing meditation. This is interesting. Tom listened to a podcast, I guess a year and a half ago, and he started meditating, and he has done it every single day for over a year.
That's impressive.
I know.
What discipline?
I know.
Has he noticed a big difference?
Yeah, I think he has, and it's interesting because it just starts his day, because he has all these people that work for him, and it can be really stressful. And he sits in the quiet. Now that we have Buddy goes and sits on a pillow next to him.
That's so cute.
And he has done it every single day for over a year.
Kudos to Tom.
I know.
That's amazing. That is great discipline.
It's great. And he journals.
Wow.
You know. Yeah, I know.
Tom the Renaissance man.
Oh gosh, he's gonna have the big head. No, but I think that it is I think it is definitely a practice that will help people with their ability to just calm themselves.
Yeah.
Because breathing, we don't breathe enough,
We don't breathe enough.
and it's really helpful.
It's why I love yoga, because for an hour a day, if I do it that day, when you do yoga, you can't think of anything else.
No.
And that is, to me, the freedom that comes with meditation. I mean, if you think about how much we're grinding all day, and like processing and planning and doing, when do we really get to shut off our brains? But yoga is so challenging for me that I can't think of anything else.
It's so challenging for me, I don't do it. And it doesn't calm me. It makes me say bad words.
Which is so funny,
Which
because
is
your
so
girls
not
are just
yogi-ish.
and your girls are just such gurus. Like they are just badass yogis. They're amazing. So you know what? We're already well into this. I didn't think we'd have need to do 3 episodes, but maybe we stop there. That seems like a good stopping point. And then we'll pick it up and we'll finish part 3 next week.
Sounds great.
I like
do
it.
Perfect.
You okay with that, Tom?
Yes, ma'am.
All righty.
Good.
Everybody have a good week.
Yes. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.